Welcome to the Sober Addict Podcast. I'm your host, Zachary Dolce. This podcast is about the fight nobody sees, the thoughts you don't post, the battles that don't look dramatic but feel heavy. If you're sober, trying to get sober, or just tired of fighting your own mind, you're in the right place. Take a breath. You don't have to be strong here. Before we start, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for pressing play. Thank you for giving me your time. And thank you for sitting here with me, because I don't take that lightly. I really don't. I know some days just getting out of bed feels like a victory. Some days you don't even want to hear another motivational word. Some days you're just trying to survive. So if you're here listening right now, that tells me you're still trying, and that matters more than you probably realize. And if you take anything away from this episode, I want it to be this: you don't have to do this alone. You're not meant to carry this by yourself. You're not meant to suffer in silence. You're not meant to feel like a burden for needing support. There are people in this world who care about you for who you truly are. Not your past, not your mistakes, not the version of you on your worst days. They care about you for who you are now. Sometimes the hardest part of healing is letting yourself believe that you deserve that kind of love. Letting yourself believe that you're not too much. Letting yourself believe you're not broken beyond repair. This episode is going to be deep, emotional, but honest. This isn't about glorifying addiction. This isn't about drama. It's not about attention. It's about growth and relationships. It's about what happens after you get sober. It's about becoming the person you know that you're capable of being. And I know we've talked about some of these topics in previous episodes, but this is the most important step. It's what happens after you get sober. A lot of people think that sobriety is the end goal. Like, once you get clean, you win, right? You cross some imaginary finish line and life just works from there on out. Like, suddenly your family trusts you again, your relationships fix themselves, your mental health magically improves, and everything you broke somehow repairs itself overnight. But that's not reality. Sobriety isn't the destination. It just opens a doorway. It's the moment you finally wake up and realize, okay, now the real work starts. Because now you can feel. Now you can think clearly, and you can't hide anymore. You don't have substances to numb any of those anymore. You don't have an escape button. You don't have a way to run from your thoughts. So everything comes back. You remember all those conversations you avoided. You remember the promises you broke. You remember the people you disappointed. You remember the moments that you missed. And it hurts. Late nights where your mind won't shut off. Or quiet mornings where your chest feels heavy. Or moments that you hear in a song. Maybe a smell or a place brings everything rushing back like it just happened yesterday. And you're forced to sit with it. That's why relapse happens so often. Not because people want to use, but because they don't want to feel it anymore. Feeling is overwhelming. You've numbed yourself for years. Feeling is scary when you don't know how to process it. Feeling is exhausting when you've never been taught how to regulate emotions. Sobriety doesn't remove pain, it exposes it. And I want to normalize something. If you got sober and you're still hurting, does not mean you're failing. It means you're healing. Healing is not pretty. Healing is not aesthetic. Healing is not Instagram quotes and morning routines. It's messy. It's crying in your car or having days where you don't know what's wrong, but you feel everything. Healing is wanting to isolate or feeling angry for no reason. Sometimes healing is feeling grief for a life you lost. Your brain doesn't forget the trauma just because you stopped using. Your body doesn't reset overnight. Your nervous system has been living in survival mode for years. So yeah, that's gonna take time. You're not broken, you're processing. You're learning how to live without numbing it. You're learning how to feel without escaping it. You're learning how to exist without destroying yourself. And again, that's not weakness, that's having strength. And nobody prepares you for the aftermath. And I know I've said this before, but it's important. Nobody sits you down and says, hey, when you get sober, you might deal with a bunch of things like anxiety that comes out of nowhere, panic attacks when nothing is wrong, or health issues that you've never expected. Overthinking everything, emotional exhaustion, the fear of dying, the fear of losing people, or even yourself. They don't tell you that. Because the problem is addiction leaves scars. Some scars are physical, some emotional, some are mental, and some you can't even see. And the invisible ones are the hardest. Because people can't see them. People don't understand them. People assume you should be fine now. I still deal with them. Some days I feel strong, like I can take the world head on. Some days I feel super confident. Some days I feel proud of myself. But then there's other days. Other days I feel weak. I feel scared. Some days I feel like I'm barely holding it together, and that doesn't make me a failure. That makes me human. When I got sober, I didn't just quit using. I lost my coping mechanism. I lost the thing I used to shut my brain off. The thing I used to escape emotions. The thing I used to avoid myself. So suddenly, I had to feel everything. The sadness, the loneliness, the fear, guilt, the regret, the grief. Nobody teaches you how to feel again. Nobody teaches you how to sit with pain without running. Nobody teaches you how to regulate emotions or how to self-soothe in healthy ways. Recovery is learning how to sit in discomfort and not to destroy yourself. That's the real strength. Staying when it hurts. Staying when it's quiet. Staying when your mind is loud. Staying when you want to escape. That takes courage. Recovery completely changes how you love. It changes how you attach to people. It changes how you communicate. It changes how you trust and how safe you feel with others. For a long time, I didn't think I deserved love. I thought my past disqualified me, or that I was too damaged, too broken, or too much. I believed anyone who really knew me would eventually leave. And that belief runs deep. But healing taught me something different. Growth opens doors. Healing creates space. Slowly, I started believing maybe I deserved something real. Maybe I wasn't doomed to sabotage everything. Maybe I didn't have to self-destruct every time something good showed up. And after recovery, I slowly started opening myself up to the idea of a relationship again. And I want to emphasize slowly. I didn't want it right away. Not easily, and I definitely wasn't confident about it. At first, I didn't trust myself. I questioned everything about my intentions. I questioned whether I was actually ready. I questioned if I was just lonely or if I was just trying to fill a void. I remember asking myself things like, am I really healed enough to show up for somebody else? Am I emotionally stable enough to be a good partner? Am I going to hurt someone again? Or am I going to get hurt again? Because when you've spent years running from yourself, closeness feels dangerous. Being seen feels threatening. Letting someone in feels risky. Loving someone feels like giving them a weapon to hurt you with. And that's what trauma does to your mind. So I tried to move slow. I tried not to rush in. And for the first time in my life, I was actually present. I was sober. I was clear. I was honest. I wasn't wearing any masks. I wasn't escaping, and there was no numbing. What she saw was the real me. The imperfect me. The healing me. The still learning me. And that mattered. This was the first relationship where I was truly showing up as myself. Not the version of me hiding behind the drugs. Not the version of me pretending everything was fine. Not the version of me running from responsibility. I was honest about my struggles. I was honest about my anxiety and my health and about my past. And that is really terrifying. Because when you're sober, you don't get to blame your behavior on substances anymore. You have to own absolutely everything. Your mood, your fears, your triggers, your reactions. And I was learning how to do that in real time. Slowly, I started letting my guard down. I started trusting. Slowly, I started believing maybe I didn't have to sabotage every good thing in my life. For a long time, I believed love always leaves. That people always walk away once they really know me. That my past would eventually catch up to me and ruin everything. That belief comes from being hurt, from abandonment, from disappointment. But this time, this felt different. I felt seen. I felt accepted. I felt understood, not judged or rushed. Not pressured, just really supported. And that's strange when you lived your whole life in survival mode. When chaos feels normal, when peace feels unfamiliar, when calm feels suspicious. I remember thinking, is this what normal feels like? This calm, this safety, this connection I'm having, is this real? It was beautiful. But at the same time, it was terrifying. Because when you finally find something good, you're terrified of losing it. You start analyzing everything you say. You replay conversations. You worry about messing it up. And that's when my anxiety started getting louder. Not because of anything she did, but because I cared. I cared so much that I became hyper aware. I worried about being too much. I worried about not being enough. I worried about being abandoned. I worried about being a burden. And that was the trauma talking inside me. When you've been hurt before, your brain learns to protect you by expecting the worst. So even in the good moments, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? And I was learning how to sit with that. Learning how not to self-sabotage. Learning how not to run. Learning how not to push people away. This relationship was not fully built on chaos. It wasn't built on addiction. It wasn't built on escape. I wasn't trying to run. It was built on honesty, on growth, on two people trying their best. And that's why it mattered so much to me, because it wasn't just about having a girlfriend. It was about proving to myself that I could love in a healthy way, that I could show up sober, that I could be present, that I could build something real. And for the first time in a long time, I believed that. But even though I was sober, I was still carrying a lot. My anxiety didn't disappear. Health issues didn't magically resolve. Trauma didn't fade. Day to day, it looked like overthinking something small, needing reassurance, reading too much into something, panicking when something felt off, pulling back emotionally, assuming the worst. And none of this was because of her. It was because of me. because trauma rewires your brain. Like I said, when you lived in survival mode for years, your nervous system doesn't know how to relax. So you stay alert, you stay guarded, you stay ready for something bad to happen, even when nothing is wrong. Sometimes I would get quiet, sometimes I would over-explain, and sometimes I would apologize for things that didn't even need an apology, not because I was weak, but because I was scared. Scared of losing something good, scared of being abandoned, scared of not being enough, and that was very heavy. And my health issues added another layer. There were doctor's appointments, test results, waiting rooms, fear of the unknown. There were days I was scared, days I didn't know what was wrong with my body, days I felt trapped in my own thoughts. And when you love someone, the fear doesn't stay contained, it spills over. Not intentionally, maliciously, or emotionally, but sometimes I needed support. Sometimes I needed reassurance. Sometimes I needed someone to sit with me in my fear. And that's a lot to carry. Loving someone who is scared, like I was, means you feel their fear too. And I know that wasn't easy for her. And here's something I learned. Relationships don't create issues, they reveal them. They show you your triggers, your wounds, your fears, your patterns. Loving someone showed me parts of myself I still needed to work on. Not for them, but for me. And loving someone who is still healing is heavy. It takes a lot of patience. It takes emotional energy and understanding. And eventually it just became too much. Not because there wasn't love, because we definitely loved each other, and it wasn't because there wasn't care for each other. It was because everyone has their own limits. People are allowed to protect themselves. People are allowed to choose peace. And people are allowed to walk away. And that doesn't make them bad. It makes them human. She didn't leave because she didn't care. She left to protect herself, and I respect that. And love doesn't shut off like a switch. I wish it did sometimes. I really do. I wish I could wake up one day and just decide, okay, I'm done feeling this. But that's not how real love works. Real love lingers. It stays in the quiet moments. It lives in the memories. It shows up in the smallest things when you least expect it. You'll be driving and a song comes on, and not even a sad one, just a normal one, and suddenly you're not even in the car anymore. You're back in a moment, a laugh, a conversation, a memory you didn't plan to think about. You'll walk past a place you went together, or a restaurant, a store, and for a second, everything rushes back. That doesn't mean you're weak. That doesn't mean you're stuck. That doesn't mean you haven't grown. It means you love deeply. And I think loving deeply is beautiful, even when it hurts, because it proves you were present. It proves you weren't numb. It proves you opened your heart. Sometimes love changes shape. It's not a relationship anymore. It's not daily conversations. There's no more good morning texts. But sometimes love becomes gratitude, respect, wishing someone peace from a distance, wishing the best for them, even if it's not with you. You can love someone and still accept that they're not meant to be in your life forever. You can still miss someone and still move forward. Those two things can exist at the same time. That's maturity, that's growth. And learning how to hold both without letting it destroy you, that takes strength. And there was so much growth that came from that relationship, not just memories, not just feelings, but accountability, self-awareness, reflection. One of the biggest things was finally being pushed to take my health seriously, to stop ignoring symptoms, to stop pretending everything was fine, to stop avoiding doctors because I was scared of the answers. The push came from care, from concern, from love. And I'm genuinely grateful for that, because it forced me to start taking myself seriously. It forced me to value my own life. Some people don't realize how much impact they have on us. Sometimes someone comes into your life and changes everything without even knowing it. That's exactly what happened here. And I'll always be thankful for that. And there comes a point in healing where the bare minimum isn't enough anymore. Where just getting by doesn't feel right. That's where I'm at now. I realize I don't want to just survive. I don't want to just avoid using. I don't want to just exist. I want to heal. I want to understand myself. I want to break patterns. I want to stop repeating cycles. So I made the decision to expand my counseling, to go deeper, to stop staying on the surface of things. I want to face things I've been avoiding, not because I'm broken, not because I'm weak, but because I'm brave enough to admit that I need more help. That's strength. It takes courage to say what I'm doing isn't enough anymore. It takes courage to say I deserve better. This isn't punishment. This isn't shame. This is growth. This is me choosing to invest in myself the same way I once invested in destruction when I was using substances. For years, I put time, money, energy into hurting myself. Now I'm putting the same effort into healing. And that feels powerful. Because for the first time, I'm choosing me, not in a selfish way, in a healthy way. Now, I want to talk about my slip up honestly. Yes, I slipped up. And I want to talk about it because people are scared to talk about relapse. They think it means failure. They think it erases progress. They think it makes everything pointless. But that's not true. I had a moment. I made a mistake, but I'm human. And here's the difference now. I didn't stay there. I didn't let one bad decision turn into a bad week. I didn't let it turn into a bad month. I didn't disappear. Instead, I owned it. I looked at myself and asked, what was I really feeling? What was I trying to escape? What triggered this? Because relapse isn't about the drug. It's about the pain underneath it. And that slip up taught me something. It reminded me how badly I don't want that life anymore. It reminded me how far I've come. It reminded me what I'm fighting for. Progress matters more than perfection. Recovery isn't about never falling or failing. It's about how fast you get back up. And I got back up. Not because it was easy, but because I refused to let one moment define my entire story. And I want to say this clearly. Just because I have a podcast, just because I'm a published author, that does not make me perfect. Not even close. I still struggle. I still get scared. I still have bad days. I'm still learning. Still growing. Still healing. Just like you. I'm not above you. I'm not ahead of you. I'm walking right beside you. Everything I learn, I promise I'll share. Because we're healing together. If you're listening now, if you're hurting, if you're lonely, if you're scared, if you've messed up, if you feel behind, don't quit. You are becoming. Your story is not over. Your past does not define you. Your worst day does not define you. Your mistakes do not define you. What defines you is what you choose from the moment forward. We can't control who stays. We can't control who leaves. But we can control who we become. You don't need to win today. You just can't quit today. Keep fighting. I'll talk to you next time.